you to write a column. And so for the first several weeks, I would just write a feature and put it in my column. No, we want your hot takes. We want your opinions. And I said, but this is what's going to create all sorts of problems. You're forcing a problem by forcing content. And sure enough, when I would get opinionated, people at Auburn that I covered would get worked up, justifiably so.
Sure.
Because it was forced. If something had organically occurred where I thought, this is such that I need to express an opinion,
sure.
Well, then okay. But beat writers aren't really supposed to have opinions. It gets lost in today's news coverage. I mean, holy God. But, yeah. So when you force
and there's a big difference in opinion and analysis.
Yes.
Those are two completely different things.
So when you force a content item that might be perfect for the Alabama game, but is completely off the hinges for the Tennessee State game, you did it to yourself.
Yeah. Like a beat writer at a school should not write that a team didn't get into a conference because of race. That would not be a thing a beat writer should talk about, potentially. So, but columnists, they have the ability to do that potentially. So,
well, I mean, anyway. Look, if the point of that column was to get hot takes,
hey, win.
W.
However,
I fear that
monster.
I fear the point of that column was to express personal opinion, which makes it fair game for me to go, God bless America, you have turned into an absolute idiot. And I like you, but you're an idiot.
So a lot of football. Again, the way this show works today, we'll obviously hit the main couple stories with Ole Miss, but Ole Miss plays in less than 11 hours at this point, so not a lot of pregame content there for you from this particular podcast. But there's like a 4-hour pregame show you can go watch on YouTube if you would like to do that. But we'll hit the weekend. We'll talk about some SEC, some national stuff. Good game last night even. So a lot of stuff coming up here on the show. The Oxford Exxon Highway 6 West in Oxford. Go and see their self-checkout they've got up and running. Take care of yourself. Don't worry about anybody else checking you out. You can also get a lunch special for $5.69, 2 sides bread, 32-ounce drink, and at all Blue Sky locations in Mississippi, you can download the Speed Pass Plus app, use it, earn points, and save money there with the Oxford Exxon. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi. 662-257-1900 is the number. Call it. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours, right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote. The rest is completely up to you. You can shop that quote around, or you can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today. 662-257-1900. Guest, join us on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford. Be a great place tonight to watch Ole Miss and Louisville. Try their burgers, po' boys, appetizers, great drink specials, great beer selection, full bar, the whole deal there at Rafters Music and Food on the Square, and also Rafters in New Albany. And then as the week goes on, get back out to Rafters on the Water out at Sardis, frozen daiquiris, frozen margaritas, great waterfront views at Rafters on the Water.
So a few things here. We'll talk about Ole Miss first. Obviously, hit some of the things that happened over the weekend. Past that, do you want to? We know we do so much pre-show around here that I haven't asked this question. Do we want to maybe look at next week's lines and then talk about each of last week's game as we talk about those lines for the next week, or you got just the way you want to do this? How do you want to go about this?
I've given this about no thought.
Okay,
so sure.
Whatever we'd like to do is fine. Is what you're saying. All right. So Ole Miss, we find out I did not even necessarily realize it. I was getting up, thinking about having some breakfast, just kind of getting around on Saturday morning. I get a phone call, and it's sheer panic from one of my best friends saying, "Have you seen?" And I had seen nothing at that point. And I thought it was a joke at first. I mean, it took me a minute to fully appreciate what had happened. Then I go to Twitter, see that Lane Kiffin did announce that he had a positive COVID test and would not be traveling with the team to Atlanta for Monday night's game. That set off a bit of an hour of a firestorm because of a couple different things that were going on there inside the Ole Miss media sphere, including a report that Ole Miss was doing random COVID testing on Saturday morning. Fans justifiably and clearly panicked over that thought.
Well, that's the one I heard, and I went, well, no, wait a minute.
Yeah, whole point here.
Because I just asked Lane this very question.
Yeah, so I sent Keith Carter a text. I said, I'm going to need a little clarification here because I'm going to get this question 7,000 times in the next 42 minutes. To Keith's credit, he called me a few minutes later. We had the conversation. He said that it was not random testing, the way Ole Miss was doing it, and this would have been the case anyway. This had nothing to do with Lane's positive case, that from a medical task force standpoint, you are fully vaccinated when you have had both your shots and 2 weeks has passed from that second shot. Right. And that's, I mean, frankly, I heard that when I got vaccinated. That's been a pretty common thing that they have told everybody, that that's when you have the most protection, is 2 weeks. So people who are not 2 weeks post second shot, they have to take the normal game week testing that anybody else would have if they were unvaccinated.
And for the most part, that's walk-ons that.
Yeah, because I know they were doing a lot of testing even the first day of camp or whatever, and the reason for that, or the first scrimmage day of camp, and that was when classes had started and they could add to the roster. So there was a lot of walk-ons, the non-preferred walk-ons, that kind of thing. So, look, I did not sense, I mean, Keith obviously wasn't going to be like, well, here's a list of players that aren't vaccinated, and he didn't, I don't know that he even knew necessarily, but I did not sense that it was, oh, God, 9 starters are getting tested today. There did not appear to be any factors playing into this that was worrying Ole Miss from a player participation standpoint. I've heard no issues about player participation standpoints. Ken Crane put out a tweet with the uniforms. I saw a good many of the expected players were in Atlanta with their uniforms hung up in their lockers last night. Jerry and Ely, Henry Parrish, Matt Corral, they were all accounted for, best I could tell. Parrish's jersey was misspelled, but
saw that.
Otherwise, that was. Is that like a game one issue? Like you have like some preseason kinks? Because Indiana had the guy had his misspelled on the front.
I'd like to have some respect put on Henry, but
because you're like, hey, they didn't misspell Matt Corral's jersey.
I mean,
Ely had his name spelled.
Why don't
correctly.
you get the best player's jersey right?
So look, player wise, if
you're going to start misspelling jerseys, then misspell the jerseys.
Player wise, I don't see any problems. Kiffin, look, I mean, it's a deal. It would be a much bigger deal had Lebby gone to Auburn or somewhere you're breaking in a new coordinator and then this happens. Lane had not made his mind up as of Saturday morning on exactly how it was going to be handled, but all the scuttlebutt is that Lebby will stay inside the press box, call plays from his normal position there.
That's what
He's not going to switch that up. Right. Durkin would handle things on the field. Kind of the concern, not really concern, that's the wrong word. The conversation was more, DJ's at his best when he can only focus on the defense and really just watch everything going on, especially in a game one with a lot of new guys. So how do you counteract that? Really, that's the spot where it's if there's a loss anywhere. But otherwise, look, they're not going to win this game or lose this game differently, or at least in an outcome standpoint, because Lane's not there. I don't believe that. So
the defense is going to run the defense.
It's a lot of nothing in a lot of ways. Yeah. I mean, look, you'd like to have your head coach there. I mean, frankly, the biggest issue to me is just, especially if something goes wrong early, nobody to calm Matt down on the sidelines that he trusts to the level that he trusts Lane.
Sure.
I think that's like.
I think this would be a bigger deal if this were last year with Matt Corral.
Oh, well, sure.
I mean, we've written a lot and talked a lot about Matt Corral having grown up a lot. So we start to find out. If you talk to Matt Corral, and this is not a shot at Lane Kiffin at all, but if you talk to Matt Corral, the first coach that always comes up in the conversation is Lebby.
Yeah.
And Lebby's there. They'll have the headset. They can talk. Lebby will see things. He'll be his eyes from up top. What they miss is you miss Lane's ability to spot something in real time. But look, this isn't Jeff Lebby's first game as an offensive coordinator.
He's been around for a while.
It's going to be okay. If Ole Miss loses tonight, it won't be because of that. And if they win tonight, it won't be because, oh, gosh, Jeff Lebby was given the reins. Jeff Lebby's been given the reins for a while now. I mean, Lane contributes to the play calling. There's no question about that.
And it's an opportunity for Lebby tonight.
Sure.
Lebby wants to be a head coach. Going, hey, Lane wasn't there, and we hung 48 on Louisville.
Lebby's going to be a head coach.
Sure.
And so, yes, this is
probably in like 4 months.
This is an opportunity. It's an opportunity for DJ Durkin tonight. But it won't be because of his head coaching. It'll be because whether the defense is improved or not.
We're seeing it this morning. it's a lot of like this week one panic from fans. And like, I get it. I mean, I've been amped up for sporting events too in the past, but it's like, hey, could that go wrong? What's that mean? Like, like I feel like we're all like a little anxious and a little like paranoid at this point in the process.
And then let me touch this.
Sure.
There's a lot of talk and a lot of people are writing stuff about what the rules are for tonight.
Uh-huh. Did you put rules in quotes?
So let me do this nicely.
Okay.
I don't give a blank what the rules are, and nobody else does either. But he's not going to be in Atlanta. He can't be, because it wouldn't work, on their communication system.
Sure.
He's not seeing the game.
He's not on the radio.
In real time. I don't know whether he's watching via cable or via satellite or whatever, but there's going to be a slight delay. Now, is Lane Kiffin going to be able to communicate with someone on the staff via cell phone or whatnot? Of course. There's not going to be anybody patrolling the sideline looking for Lane Kiffin popping up on Tom Luke's cell phone, for example. If he sees something and he wants to communicate it, he will.
He will have that ability.
I'm sure at the half he will have the ability to get on a cell phone and talk to someone if he so chooses, if he needs to. But he's not there. And he doesn't see it in real time because the game has some sort of broadcast delay. Just because the signals have to bounce off satellites.
Technology has to take a second.
It just is what it is.
Yeah.
And so the people that are like making this giant, I get it's a story. I get it. It's clicks. But it's common sense. He's not on their live thing because, frankly, he would be a distraction if he's, say, 4 seconds behind the play.
Sure. So,
does that make sense?
Oh, I'm good.
Everyone's going wild with this. Will he be able to communicate? Well, yeah, he's got a phone.
Yeah, I know Lane posted that he was trying to test out, and then he deleted the tweet. I've heard no indication that anything is different, so that would shock me if something were to change.
All right, so let's talk about the elephant in the room, and I'll be the bad guy because I've been the bad guy on this for the better part of 19 months.
Okay.
If you're Lane Kiffin on Saturday, you're vaccinated. You know your entire team is vaccinated. On Friday, he said he had mild symptoms. His words, not mine, so mild that he thought about not testing. Would you have kept your mouth shut and not tested at least for a couple of days?
I had that thought when it first happened for sure. And I think a lot of people would have not tested in that standpoint, frankly.
Because you are telling your players, right, hey, guys, unless you have symptoms,
yeah, sure, you
don't have to test, so nobody's got symptoms, right? I mean, that's getting said, correct?
I think there's a couple different things. I think, and again, I don't know how all the processes work. Maybe there was some extreme caution where it's just in freaking case on Monday morning when Matt Corral wakes up, if he has a freaking cough, he hadn't been around me in the last 48 hours, and I don't have to deal with that potentially because I'm around him more than I'm around anybody else.
But you're only having to deal with it from a PR standpoint, nothing else, because from a testing standpoint, and
no, I agree.
This is the story I worked on.
I'm just saying on the off damn chance Matt woke up sick on Monday, sick on Monday morning. I mean, is it likely? No, God, no. But I'm just.
But the truth is, unless Matt woke up this morning and told people he was sick,
yeah, sure,
nobody would say anything.
Yeah. Somebody close to Lane was sick, and it just was out there to a point that it was necessary from a standpoint, from a PR standpoint. It's possible, I guess.
It's conceivable.
And then, I mean, taking some red herrings out of this thing and Occam's razor a little bit. Lane's gotten a lot of publicity. He's become very popular for his push for Mississippians to get vaccinated, and he was doing a by-the-book thing because that's what he wanted to do.
That's what
PR standpoint, or strictly just what he thought. I'm not in Lane Kiffin's head. I can't say what his motivations were, but maybe he just did what he was supposed to do.
Look, this is going to sound crazy, and this is going to sound like it's not a criticism, and I'm not accusing anyone of having an ulterior motive. But COVID's been really good to Lane Kiffin. When Lane Kiffin got to Ole Miss, the knock on Lane Kiffin, right, was that he's this immature party boy. Yeah. He's crazy. Oh, boy, he's Joey Freshwater. Mm-hmm. Oh, he's out at the bars every night.
Yeah, no.
really hasn't been the case.
It was never going to be the case.
No.
It was frankly it was a wrong stereotype given his Twitter persona is what it was.
Yeah. And so this summer, when the story came out that Ole Miss was 100% vaccinated, in many ways he became the darling.
Mm-hmm.
And over the weekend, they have gotten a ton of pub for Kiffin, quote, doing the right thing,
Sure.
end quote,
Yeah.
being responsible, etc.
Yeah.
I think it has allowed the narrative around Kiffin, which is important if he ever wants to whatever.
Or just in general, he might have been tired of that persona.
He may have been tired of that persona. That's a good point.
That's not who I am.
People are saying, "Oh, Lane Kiffin's all grown up now. He's mature now." And again, I don't think it matters because at the end of the day, if Ole Miss struggles with Louisville tonight, it's probably a shaky sign.
Sure. So that's pretty much that. I mean, otherwise,
Well, I mean, like DJ Gregory says, it's known he still likes them around since something about co-ed, slightly older than co-ed, he, whatever. Yeah, but it's not a he thing. He's dating the same girl and has been for basically a year.
yeah. Yeah,
everyone knows out at practice. She was out at practice most of those days.
Yeah.
Out there, she works
It's a
for
very
the university.
prominent family in the community.
She's the daughter of a very prominent family that everyone in the athletic department knows. It's not a secret. It's not a scandal. It's a relationship.
I told Neal this earlier.
Two consenting adults.
I told Neal this earlier. The Clarion Ledger did Lane a grave disservice.
Imagine that.
When he tweeted about the rumor that she was pregnant, and the Clarion Ledger called her a former cheerleader. She is an adult who works inside the athletic department.
It would be like me calling you former pitcher Chase Parham.
It was a condescending
yes.
remark
yes.
that put her in a box that, frankly, is not fair to her and, by association, not fair to Lane.
People inside the athletic department were very upset with that story and that headline, and they had every right to be.
Yeah, that was bullshit. I mean,
total. It was clickbait. It was everything that's wrong with American journalism today in
and it
one
continued
paragraph.
this storyline for no reason when she's, whatever.
I mean, she's a former cheerleader.
A lot of people are former cheerleaders.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a former strong safety, like really former. But former. I mean, I could claim it.
It's not wrong.
I played it. At what point does she just become an adult?
Yeah, right.
I would argue that now.
Yeah. So, all right, we'll move on to what was a crazy weekend of games. Plenty of storylines, plenty of podcast fodder. We'll get there in a second. First, talk about Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. Underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. They're getting local underwriting that understands your market. A leader in condo financing, the float down option, and more. You can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com.
The Oxford Exxon podcast also brought to you by The Rogue. The Rogue is your destination for fine men's clothing. Their stylists hand-select pieces from top designers, from work to lifestyle to nightlife. There's the perfect something for everyone at The Rogue, 4450 I-55 North in Jackson, or therogue.com. Also brought to you by Joey Erickson at Heron Gear Chevrolet. Let Joey help you find the vehicle you're looking for at a price you can afford. Choose from a full selection of new Chevy vehicles or get a great deal on numerous brands of reliable pre-owned vehicles. 662-571-2367 or visit him in person at 1685 High Street in Jackson. We are also brought to you by Alpha Specialties, located at 1670 Highway 80 in Pearl, Mississippi. Alpha's your trailer-specific professional. If you want to haul it, they can call it. It's the premium trailer dealership in Mississippi. They've got Load Trail. They also have Hallmark cargo trailers. They also have, they can repair all types of trailers, concession, horse, utility, enclosed, gooseneck, RV, and more. It's 601-932-9798 or check them out at alphaofms.com. And we're brought to you by the Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, look no further than Grenada Nissan. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles. Great lease deals as well. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. And we're presented by Service Specialists with office in Ridgeland, Canton, Jackson, and Oxford. Service Specialists has been connecting candidates and employers since 1967 as the oldest staffing company in Mississippi. So whether you're a new college grad or a seasoned professional, whether you're in engineering, dentistry, accounting, law, manufacturing, human resources, or more, you should contact a service specialist. If you're a recent grad without much experience, you should also reach out to service specialists. They're always looking for candidates that have potential and want to learn and get their foot in the door with growth opportunities. Look, Mississippi's a small state. Service specialist always knows about jobs that never get advertised. Also, if you're looking to hire quality talent for your company, Service Specialist has names and resumes ready for your perusal. If you're thinking about looking for a new job or you're looking to relocate to Mississippi but you have confidentiality concerns, call Service Specialist. There are no referral fees for those searching for a job either. You have nothing to lose, so call them at 662-832-5138 or go to servicespecialistltd.com.
Podcast also brought to you by Visit Oxford. Visit oxfordms.com. Full list of events going on this week and every week with the home football schedule returning this weekend. The double-decker bus tours are back on Friday, 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock. Remember, with each adult ticket, you also get $100 off a pair of Blue Delta jeans. Tunes Around Town back on Friday, too, if you need something to do the night before, around dinner or whatnot. 3 different locations around the square where music will be playing. Get some dessert, get some ice cream, get some yogurt, and check out some local musical acts there on the square in Oxford. So, again, visit oxfordms.com/events. Okay, so many things here. I don't even really freaking know where to start. I guess we'll go in a little bit of reverse order. Last night, really happy for Mackenzie Milton. Looked really good last night for Florida State. Kind of brought them back definitely into a comeback. They end up losing in overtime to Notre Dame. And then in our first dumb PC college football thing, Brian Kelly last night screws up a quote from John McKay from like 40 years ago. And the internet goes crazy. And I woke up to this because I went to bed as soon as the game was over. And
I went to bed, Florida State was losing by 20.
Neal had no idea they went to overtime when I walked in this morning. The quote back in the 70s from McKay, and I'm probably paraphrasing a little bit, but you'll get the gist, was somebody said, what'd you think of your team's, or something about what'd you think about the execution, and John McKay said, I'm for it. Yes. Timing is fantastic on that. It's hilarious.
At the time, he's coaching the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Who are god-awful.
They were an expansion team, and they were awful. And John McKay was known for being funny.
Yeah.
And so that was asked. He answered it. It was deadpan. It was brilliant.
And I'm still laughing about it to this day. I mean,
because it was great.
It's great. Well, Brian Kelly wants to be funny, and there's not an unfunnier human in the world than Brian Kelly. He has no sense of humor. He has no timing.
You know what's funny is people who know him
really
in private say that he's an incredibly charming, funny guy to just hang around and talk to.
I don't think he's not even charming. I just his humor, because he's so high strung when he's dealing with football, that just, we can't get there. He can't lower his personality to that point, or whatever you want to call it.
But he very clearly is not in favor
of
actually executing his players.
Last night, and he's like, "Yeah, you something about execution, or they should all be executed, or something." It's like, well, yeah, that's not how that went. But we couldn't all just laugh about it. We had to get self-righteous and take him literal. And it's like, even Chris Fowler.
I know.
Chris,
I saw this morning.
Well, in 2021. Oh, for God's sake.
I know.
He's making. Do you really think he wanted to walk into the locker room and murder his players?
Of course not. There's a 0.000% chance.
And nobody actually thinks that.
Well,
they just found a way to be offended.
So why do we do this? Because it's our field that does this. We are the only ones. I'm not talking about Karen out in wherever. God bless her. She's helpless. Those people are done. The people that are literally still locked up 19 months in, they're done. Their lives are over. They're finished. They're never recovering. But it's our profession. We all know Brian Kelly is not for executing his team. So why can no one give anyone a break ever?
No, it's more fun to be offended.
But if I'm Brian Kelly from now on, I'm like, don't ask me to talk to you on the field. I'm not going to do it. Fine me. I make $7 million.
I'll pay the $10,000.
Just don't do it. I mean, our field is, God, I hate us. We are the biggest collection of assholes in society. We are the worst. I hate journalism today. We are disgusting. Chris Fowler, oh my God. Stop. Chris, you've covered these people. They give you a level of access that nobody else gets because you were once ESPN. He made a mistake, an innocent mistake. Chill the F out. Instead of focusing on that, focus on Mackenzie Milton, whose story's incredible.
It's a great story.
Don't take away from – give Brian Kelly a break. Brian Kelly's been a pretty good dude for the most of his career.
He has.
And all of a sudden that you want – because he makes one bad quote in an attempt to make a joke.
And to his point, he defended himself in the press conference and was basically like, really, guys? Like,
yeah, I mean,
come
the F on.
Yeah.
But he's got a bunch of 20-something-year-old beat writers in there just waiting to execute him. He ought to tell them all to kiss his ass and walk away. No joke. Just go, hey, good luck covering Notre Dame football if you're not going to give me a break on that. Answer every question with yes or no for the rest of the year. Yeah, I mean, occasionally you got to let a coach have a moment.
Yeah, I was actually looking for it, and I'm having a hard time finding it now. Because, I mean, we're obviously not going to play Brian Kelly's press conference. And somebody had tweeted the quote last night, but now I can't seem to locate it, so whatever. Where he had defended himself, I mean, in a very joking manner, was like, come on, basically, come on, guys. So,
yeah, he shouldn't have to defend himself. I mean, he can say, hey, you blew the joke, your team almost blew the game, but it's all going to be okay. He very clearly... If you're going to take – it's literal. You can't say that in 2021. Why not? You can't tell a joke in 2021? Do you think Brian Kelly's players actually believe that their coach wants to kill them? Like literally take their life away because of a football game? Because if you believe that, then bet against Notre Dame the rest of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, no, his team was celebrating a – important win on the road in Tallahassee last night. That was it. They're all good.
Yes.
They got some problems with their football team. But
well, it's week one.
Yeah.
And people can overreact badly to week one.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I mean, just what we do, though, for whatever reason. And we just do it, and it's our field that does it. Nobody else does it. We fuel it. We keep it going. And if you dare say what I just said, I promise you, 90% of the people out there in journalism get mad at me for saying it. They don't understand why I can't just join in.
Yeah, I don't mind finding the clip. The problem is that I don't know where it's at in Brian Kelly's press conference. I found Brian's press conference, but
which is probably 20 minutes.
Yeah, so that's the problem. Is I have no idea. I mean, knowing all these people is probably in the beginning, but I have no clue. So. I mean, we can link it on the board, but I don't know how to do that. Or I don't know how to find it right now.
Right.
I do know how to link the press conference on the board. Speaking of rants, I thoroughly enjoyed our friend Matt Moscona on Saturday night following the LSU loss to UCLA in Pasadena.
Yes.
It's there's plenty here, but credit to Matt because doing a post-game show around LSU fans after a loss and getting distracted as many times as he got distracted,
Who
and
was the
people
guy
literally
that kept
grabbing
putting his
him,
arm around him and
like
stuff?
literally. I mean, at one point Matt goes, "Dude, you're putting all your weight on my shoulder."
I would have been like, "Dude, get off of me."
I mean,
I don't like being touched like that.
Yeah. I mean, he had composure in a way there as whatever was happening around him. It's week one. I know we can do a lot of overreactions. And I'm mad at myself right now because, frankly, UCLA maybe just be the better football team. But in addition to that...
Did you watch the line of scrimmage?
Yeah, I know. Going on the road, going west, and it being a second game were also factors in this, in my opinion. I had a terrible week, but of all the picks, that was the one I'm most mad about over the course of the weekend. A couple of the other ones, just those big lines.
Yeah, whatever, sure.
I don't care. So
LOS.
I know.
I'm just telling you.
Well, and frankly,
telling you.
LOS, but also second-level stuff. Their linebackers struggled with UCLA's running backs.
They're bad.
From a physicality standpoint.
They haven't covered a crossing route yet.
I mean, I'll
Chase.
eat these words if I need to. I think they're 6-6. I think they're 5-7, 6-6 potentially.
Well, I used to do a show with this guy in Baton Rouge, and I would talk about LSU. I had some concerns. Oh, no. Talent. 4-star, 5-star talent. Ed Orgeron recruited talent here. I mean, that 2008 team, I'll never forget. I covered the first spring practice. That was my first day on the job. I was like, whoa, they got more players here than I thought. LSU got whacked. Yeah, they got a couple of really good corners. They're always going to have speed. I mean, Ricks is Elias Ricks, hell of a player. Stud.
Mm-hmm.
They got the one receiver that's a badass. They got beat up front. Flat beat up front. I watched it the whole game. I actually ended up doing exactly what I said I was going to do without meaning to. I watched some of Georgia Clemson, but the game that absolutely just riveted my attention was LSU UCLA. And I watched
even during the game.
Yeah, I watched the whole damn thing.
See, I was talking to a buddy last night who said the same thing. I found it less TV appealing. I went back and watched a lot of it because I knew I had to watch it for my job. I watched Georgia Clemson live. I was much more, for whatever reason, enthralled in Georgia Clemson last night.
Well, what I saw, the LSU game that I didn't expect, I made myself until I got to a point where the Buffalo Trace began to kick in and I just began to enjoy the meltdown.
Yeah, sure.
Before that, I really focused on the lines of scrimmage. Because you really have to, on TV, you have to make yourself lock in on that or else, because the camera's going to go with the ball. And if you saw it, you're like, whoa. Because this is supposedly UCLA, right? And the LSU coach comes into the stadium, and I think this moment does him in. I really do.
You think think it's actually a big deal?
I think it's a really big deal.
Do you really? Okay.
I do. Not because of what he said or him yelling at a fan, but it tells you where his discipline is.
Sure.
Bring your ass down. Bring your ass on in your sissy blue shirt. Okay, well, that team, which you just implied is a bunch of sissies because of their color and they're in California, whatever, they kicked your ass up front in a way that you rarely see LSU get its ass kicked up front.
Mm-hmm.
And the quarterback, I thought he played okay, Johnson.
He was fine.
But he's not terrifically accurate. They got pressure on him. They rattled him. It's UCLA. If UCLA's front does that to LSU, what's Kentucky's front going to do to LSU? What's Auburn's front?
Yes, you said Kentucky.
I did. What's Auburn's front going to do to LSU? What's Florida's front going to do to LSU? Good God, what is Alabama going to do to LSU? I mean, you start counting the L's.
They're going to get 3 in a row right here. They're going to win 3 games in a row. So they're going to be 3-1 and then whatever. But it is not out of the realm at all that they lose 5 in a row after that.
I've been saying this for months.
I know. 5.
They have to go to Kentucky.
Well, because he might be fired here. Frankly, if what we think is possible, again, maybe they win 1, but whatever. For the sake of the conversation, he very easily could be fired on October 30th. They have a bye week after Ole Miss before Alabama.
I know.
So LSU is going to beat McNeese. They're going to beat Central Michigan, and their state sucks. So they're going to beat Mississippi State in Starkville. I think they're athletic enough on defense to not let Will Rogers and his crew throw the ball around. Is that fair? Yeah. I know what they did to him last year.
Yeah, it's not even about last year. It's about I watched their intermediate pass coverage was
really bad. If you're right, then even more so.
But for the sake of the conversation, I do think they win in Starkville.
So 3-1. You picking them to beat Auburn today?
No.
Picking them to beat Kentucky today?
No. Kentucky really looked good after the first 3 or 4 minutes.
They did. And
Kentucky's defense is legit.
And the kid can throw enough to give him a passing game.
Oh, and he's got a little bit something to him.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's hung up on he eats the banana with the peel on.
I want to laugh at you a little bit about it, but if you told me Kentucky finished second in the East, I wouldn't be shocked.
I'm telling you now that I think Kentucky's going to finish second in the East.
Because their competition for that, next up, Florida. You picking LSU to beat Florida today?
No, not today. Not based on what I just saw. Florida's not great.
They're good at everything.
But there's no – you made a great point. They're Arkansas baseball.
Yeah. They're
not going to win a championship because the weaknesses will get you, but they're never going to have just the dud game.
And then Ole Miss. Before an off date, and then Alabama.
Yeah, I hadn't seen Ole Miss yet.
Yeah, we haven't
let me
seen them
see
yet,
Ole Miss,
so.
and I've seen Alabama, and LSU's going to get smoked. They're going to get smoked by Alabama. My God.
5-7 is not off the table.
No.
Not saying they're going to go 5-7, but it's not off the table.
But everybody would just go, oh, they're going to beat UCLA.
Because I didn't mention A&M yet.
I know. Everybody would go, oh, they're going to beat UCLA. And I would be like, wait a minute. The game's out there. It's Chip Kelly. There were signs of a pulse at times last year.
And Chip Kelly looked more modern with his play calling on Saturday night. He did not look Rich Rodriguez-ish on Saturday.
No, this is what we in the media do, though. We determine that a guy's done, and he's done. We determine that Lane Kiffin is Joey Freshwater, and he's Joey Freshwater forever. That's what we do. Hey, guess what? With the exception of one season, Ed Orgeron's been the same guy.
Yes. And that one season, I feel, even as dumb as we are after watching Pete DeWeese's video on Friday, Neal and I probably could have won a championship with that team in 19. We'd have had a shot.
I'm always very careful that I do this the right way because I think it's important.
Yeah.
Ed Orgeron gave Joe Burrow an opportunity when most people wouldn't, and he deserves credit for that.
And he got out of the way in one season.
Ed Orgeron hired this young 20-something-year-old offensive coordinator when other people said, you're insane. And he gave him the offense and stepped the hell out of the way.
And he stayed out of Dave Aranda's way.
He put Steve Ensminger in there to hey, just babysit if he needs you, but leave him alone.
Yeah.
And they did. Tons of credit. They had a great wide receiver corps with Chase and all those cats, and they spread the ball around. Great. They had an NFL running back in the backfield, and they used him right. It was brilliant offense. They were very good up front. Dave Aranda's a very good defensive coordinator, and he left him alone.
Yeah.
Because if he'd bothered Dave Aranda would have jumped out of a building because they're polar opposite personalities. Give Ed a ton of credit for what happened that year. But then everyone left. Everyone left. And they're not the same. That's not Joe Brady running their offense. The defensive coordinator is a guy who's never coordinated before. He was in the NFL, but he was a DB's coach. They don't have a personality on defense the way that you would expect them to. And they got whipped up front. Mm-hmm. So maybe UCLA is about to go on a tear, but if UCLA ends up being the fourth best team in the Pac-12, LSU's in trouble.
Yeah. Speaking of, we were asked to go here next. Mississippi State, who is first up for LSU in this gauntlet. If you want to include the Bulldogs in that, they were losing by 20 at one point to Louisiana Tech. They come back. Tech kind of folded there in the fourth quarter. State wins 35-34 to go 1-0. They are trying to take the optimistic look of they got it done, but a lot of issues in Starkville.
I said this on the board the other day when it was bad. For those that don't know, I'm from Ruston.
Yeah.
Grew up there, moved there I think when we were 3, and lived there. My parents lived there until I was in my early 20s. I still know a lot of Ruston people. Mm-hmm. And when you talk to Ruston people, including people who are really big Louisiana Tech fans, before this season, they're like, yeah, we're going to kind of take a step back. Because Tech's been pretty good for a while. Not great, but they've been solid.
Yeah.
They've been a bowl team. I think they went to the, I know we make the jokes, the Independence Bowl, the one in Shreveport, whatever it's called now.
But sure.
But they've gone to those kind of bowls. And they went to the Armed Forces Bowl, I think, in Texas or whatnot. They've been a real solid kind of 7.5 win. What are they in, Conference USA?
They are.
Team. It's kind of who they've been. Solid.
They played in the conference title game with Driscoll that one year at least.
Yeah, they've been a solid program. So Skip Holtz has been there for a long time. They have a lot of continuity. They've been good. But if you talk to people in Ruston who were pretty big Tech fans who were dialed in, they would tell you, I think we're going to take a step back. We don't have the talent on the roster this year. And the proof is they literally took a quarterback kind of off the scrap heap and just went, hey, come on, do your best.
Well, I mean, he was literally he had a job. He was just out of the whole deal.
And if give State credit.
They won.
Because they came back and had a furious fourth quarter. But if Griffin doesn't return the kick, it doesn't happen.
No.
They're in trouble. They are what they are. You just don't win in this league if you can't run the football.
I'm fascinated by their game on Saturday. Now it's going to be going on the same time Ole Miss's is, and we'll follow it best we can. They play NC State on Saturday. NC State
they're losing
pretty good on Saturday.
They're losing Saturday.
Yeah, to me, this says, hey, was it an overreaction at all, or is this absolutely who they are? And, I mean, because, look, speaking of schedules, State, the next few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
NC State at home. At Memphis is not a gimme.
No.
Memphis is okay. Not great. They're fine. LSU, I mean, we'll see.
Yeah.
And then A&M. And then Alabama.
Oof. Yuck.
I mean, now after that, it softens, but there's no – look, I say it softens, but look at this. Alabama, now everybody's beating Vanderbilt. Kentucky, that's sure as hell not a win. On the write it down. At Arkansas is a contrast in styles that, I don't know, flip a damn coin. Beats me. I mean, Arkansas didn't look good over the weekend, but –
Look, Tech ran the football.
Yeah, I know. And then Auburn, Tennessee State, Ole Miss.
Well, they're losing to Auburn.
So.
And again, I hadn't seen Ole Miss yet, so we'll see Ole Miss tonight, and I can go from there.
Yeah, sure.
I'm leaving. I'm letting the jury sit in the box for a while.
So, no, State is potentially what the detractors from the very beginning were worried about a Mike Leach team looking like in Starkville. Almost by the book. You're not going to recruit a ton. You don't use the running back enough to highlight, frankly, a position that State's always been able to get. I mean, that's one of the things, too, is you look at programs and fits, and everybody said, oh, well, Mississippi State is kind of like Tech, except the SEC version, or kind of like Washington State, but the SEC version. But State's knack, and where they've done a hell of a job and a lot better than Ole Miss inside the state of Mississippi, is running backs and offensive linemen.
Yeah.
And when you don't take advantage of that and you take that and go, no, we're going to pass happy this son of a gun, and I'm just going to take the scrap heap quarterback. I mean, no offense to whomever, but I mean, it's like.
Well, it's the opposite of the Lane Kiffin offense because it's, no, this is my offense. I'm the smartest guy in the room. This is what we do, and you will fit my offense. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to fit my offense to you. You will fit my offense. Good luck. Look, I watched Mississippi State a good bit. I watched Arkansas a good bit.
Yeah.
Arkansas is not a good team. Arkansas would beat State today.
Yeah, I think
because
so
they're
too.
better on defense than Tech.
Sure.
And Arkansas, the one thing that they do fairly well, it's the reason that they escaped Rice the other day.
Run the football.
Is they do that. They'll get you up front. They're pretty good up front. They got a good offensive line. Stromberg at center is a good player, and they surrounded by some good players. Jefferson's a weapon with his feet. His arm's not a weapon at all, but his feet are. He's a big boy, and they've got some good backs, and they've got a pretty good running scheme, and I think they'd be able to run the ball effectively on State.
Yeah. Continue going around the league a little bit in a second. First, about Northeast Spark, NESPARC.com. Got the Ignite package, the 100 Mbps, or the Blaze, the 1 gig that powers the Clark Ford studio. Your hometown team bringing you world-class broadband, NESPARC.com, 662-238-3159. Phone service is available, parental controls, network security, wireless mesh extender, and much more. So call if you're in the Oxford area. Get the best internet around. Again, 662-238-3159.
I'll have a mailbag up probably late Wednesday this week. It'll be brought to you by Whitney McNutt, Tommy Morgan Incorporated Realtors, serving you for all your real estate needs in Oxford and Tupelo. Whitney sells land, condos, commercial, and residential family homes. 662-567-2573, 662-842-3844. Also brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. If you're already thinking about maybe that holiday trip, maybe you're already thinking about next summer, which would actually be pretty smart because there's still a ton of deals to be had in the travel industry, get in touch with John. Just give him some parameters and a budget. Let him give you options. And no, you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. 901-494-3387 or send him an email, jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first booked trip just by telling John that you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. We're also brought to you by Pinnacle. They're based in Madison, Mississippi. They've got clients in more than 20 states, advisors in multiple states as well. They provide detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much more. At Pinnacle, investing is treated like a commodity. Decisions are made using objective information and research, not emotions. So get in touch with them at mypinwealth.com. That's MYPINN wealth.com. Also brought to you by the College Corner, one-stop Rebel Shop, 2 locations in the Jackson area. In Ridgeland, it's next to Fleet Feet. In Flowood, it's next to Half Shell. If you don't live in Jackson, it's not a problem. Go to collegecornerstore.com. Plus, you can find them on Facebook and Instagram. Whether you're tailgating in Oxford or home gating with friends and family, the College Corner has you covered for game day, the largest selection of Rebel gear in central Mississippi. And we're brought to you by Comer Heating and Air and Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. It's the same company, 2 names, same company. If you're in Oxford, Tupelo in the area, it's Comer. If you live in the Memphis, North Mississippi, Hernando, DeSoto area, get in touch with the people at Southern, 662-801-1777 for all of your heating and cooling needs.
Podcast also brought to you by Nick's Tan and Associates, nickstanoxford.com for all your real estate needs on the buy side, the sell side, and more here in the local area. 662-281-1200. You can go to the website, see gallery view, listing views, talk to agents, and much more. You can also click the link in my signature. The 321 content item will be out tomorrow once we actually see a football game and see what that looks like. So click it. Register there on the website. Again, 662-281-1200, nickstanoxford.com. Just reading kind of while you were doing that, Chris Lowe has a story on Matt Corral and Lane Kiffin today.
Yeah, I knew Chris was in town last week.
Yeah, I did find this funny. It says, let's see. Lately, Kiffin jokes that the only trouble he's gotten himself into is leaving his garage door open at the new home he bought at the Country Club of Oxford. I got a letter from the homeowners association saying I'd violated rules by leaving my garage open one day. Kiffin said, "Why would they care if I was leaving my garage door open?"
It's fair.
That's a fair, valid point. I've never heard of that type of issue before. So that's one.
I'm not overly shocked, given just yeah.
So whatever. Kiffin also with this quote when discussing Matt Corral. He says, again, you can read it at ESPN.com. He says, if Matt limits his turnovers, and unless I'm an idiot, he's going in the first round and probably the top half of it.
Mm-hmm.
He was throwing it 70 yards with accuracy, and he's not a huge guy, but his whole upper body's loose, really loose. When he does our flexibility test where he puts his arms back, it's amazing how far he can go. He's also a very good quarterback scrambler. He's not going to be the fastest guy at the combine, but he's got good feet, and he's slippery once he starts running. Lane Kiffin there on Matt Corral.
Lane's really high on Matt. I mean, I thought Matt's comment last week was funny that the coaches tell him he sucks. Just they're, jokingly keeping him humble or whatnot. Again, 2 years ago, the head coach not being in town, bigger deal. Tonight, not saying that.
Yeah, I knew the trash cans was one. I knew that one. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I just think tonight Matt's going to be fine. It's his offense. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, Matt, a year later, as you said, Matt a year later is such a difference without not having Kiffin around.
Sure.
Than it would have been. He would have panicked at some point.
Yeah.
Tonight.
He learned a lot last year. As crazy as it sounds, the Arkansas game was the best thing that ever happened to Matt Corral.
I thought it was a really correct thing for Lane to tell Matt first he wasn't going to be around tonight. Let him process, get in that mindset prior to springing it on him with the rest of the team. Because it's different. I mean, he's the one that.
Well, it doesn't affect the defensive tackle at all. No. I mean, Lakia Henry isn't impacted by Lane Kiffin not being on the sideline.
No. Probably true, isn't it?
I mean, I think Jalen Jones is like, oh my God, I don't know what he's not there. What am I going to do? He's going to do the same thing he was going to do if had he been there. And I don't think Lane's strength as a coach is the rah-rah.
His pregame speech is not going to be.
Nobody's ever told me that his pregame speech is just off the chains.
No.
He'll be missed at halftime on the offensive skills players.
Sure.
Something tells me Matt Corral will get on a phone.
Yeah. Kentucky looked good. We mentioned them. I mean, no reason to stay on it a ton. 45-10 over ULM on Saturday. The Penn State transfer throws for 367. Saw something, and I forget the exact stats, so I might be a little off here, but it was Kentucky's first game over like 250 yards since maybe 2018 from a passing standpoint.
Could be.
Or maybe it was the last 21 games is I think what it was. And 18 of those 21 games, they had thrown for less than 150 yards.
They got off to a bad start.
Yeah.
And then dominated.
Yeah.
Now, look, ULM is
not good.
Just awful. Just awful. But Kentucky looks the part.
Mm-hmm. Who else looks the part? Alabama, 44-13 over Miami on Saturday afternoon in Atlanta. Bryce Young goes for 344. And look, it was 44-13, but it could have been whatever the hell they wanted it to be on Saturday afternoon because it was 27-3 at some point in the second quarter, and Bama just went, okay, they're dead.
Well, that was Saban going, okay, I need some crappy right now.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of crappy right now.
Let's figure out a way for us to look like average in the second half so that I can yell some this week.
They were dynamic on defense, which we knew they were going to be.
Yeah.
Harris looked good. Insert new running back. It's Brian Robinson is the new one, the one to know for the year. They still have a stable of wide receivers between Michie and Williams and the whole deal.
They're so good up front.
They are.
They're so good up front.
I mean, I know they're ranked number 1 in the country, but they were also the best team I saw all weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Eye test-wise, just watching the games.
For sure.
They were the most complete offense and defense team that I saw all weekend.
I'll say this. Everyone better hope Miami's really good.
You mean bad?
I mean really bad.
Yeah, if they're really good, then go ahead call it.
If Miami's a 9 or 10 win
team.
If
Miami is really the 14th team in the country.
It's over.
Yeah.
It's done. Because everyone's going crazy about Georgia and Clemson. But Georgia and Clemson both offensively looked really pedestrian.
And what we don't know is how much was Clemson's offense pedestrian because of Georgia's defense. And we'll talk about that game in a minute.
Yeah.
Manny Diaz saying all the right things, but as I think it was the Palm Beach Post had a column I was reading sometime Sunday morning was that what Alabama showed Miami is that the expectations for Miami are still in a lower category here, that it's be a quality football team, but you're not ready for that type of prime time.
Miami talked a lot this offseason.
They did.
Word to the wise, don't.
Talk. Well,
there's a way to approach the Alabama game, and that ain't it.
Well, there's a lot of media going on about, I don't even know why you play Alabama in those neutral site openers. I mean, like, whatever. I don't necessarily think don't play it, but just manage your expectations. I mean,
say the right things.
But it wouldn't have mattered if they never said a word.
No, but don't wake them up.
I mean, well, Miami's trying to be 80s Miami. They're trying to be flashy, and you're not that program anymore. Just like Nebraska and Tennessee.
I mean, I'd like to be 15 again, but I'm not.
I mean, it was a dump trucking. It was as bad as anything I've seen.
They're really, really good. I mean, they're the best program in the country. They have been for a while. They're the best team in the country. They have been for a while. Beating them is going to require you playing your A-plus game and them playing a C game.
You spoke of it, Georgia-Clemson. Georgia 10, Clemson 3. The only touchdown was a defensive touchdown in the game. I told Neal yesterday on the phone, I felt like they were like 2010 Alabama, where quarterback play was fine, but nothing that stood out to you at all, especially in today's college football. The run game was okay, but that defense was good. It flies around, and no matter what Clemson is or is not, they're obviously not bad offensively. And Georgia, we have, like I said, in 2021, I don't know that we've seen that level of defensive domination in a game in a long time. They were special to the point that, look, JT Daniels has got to be better. He threw it for 135 yards on Saturday night. He did nothing for me.
No, he looked pedestrian.
He's got to be better.
He looked better than DJ.
But, well, yeah.
DJ did nothing.
But I look at that schedule, and I think it's very likely Georgia runs this thing, and the SEC championship game against Alabama doesn't mean a hill of beans.
No, it's a seeding game.
Yeah, you're 1 or you're 4.
Well, if that's the case, then they're playing each other again.
They won't do that, so whatever. But
you're 1 or you're 3.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's what Georgia did was they bought themselves now just go. Because if they lose, they've got to run it and beat Alabama.
Right.
So Georgia had to not lose to anybody else and then win one of those other two games to get into the playoff. Well, now they just have to go beat everybody else.
Yeah, they are salty on defense.
They're good,
to say the least.
Yeah, I mean they're special.
If you're Clemson, are you at all worried? Do you
About winning the ACC or about winning the national title?
No, just getting back to the playoff.
I mean, who in the ACC scared you this week?
Well, so far nobody.
Because I'm not worried about Virginia Tech, even though they beat North Carolina.
Oh no, and I'm not worried about North Carolina.
No, I mean frankly, Florida State looked pretty good, but they're not beating Clemson.
No.
So, go ahead.
No, that's it.
I mean, did Miami on Saturday make you go, oh, we're shaking in our boots now? I mean.
No. But now, of all the teams you just mentioned, they're the one that I'm willing to give the benefit of the
Miami?
doubt to for a minute. Yeah, because of who they played.
Yeah, sure.
Clemson took a fall at quarterback.
If I'm a voter, I move Georgia up number 2 in the country today.
Yes, for sure. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm Alabama 1, Georgia 2. And
absolutely. You went on the road and held Clemson to a field goal.
Yeah.
In a neutral site.
But Alabama looks so good, I can't give you number 1.
No, Alabama's number 1 until they're not.
Yeah.
Anybody who doesn't agree with that, you're not being fair. You have to reward the consistency of their excellence.
Yeah, Longo did not call a very good game Thursday night.
It's awful.
They were rough.
It was awful.
I thought Virginia Tech called a good game, played a good game. That was about their max, and they didn't. They fed off the crowd. They were good. A&M is good. I don't like the quarterback at all. He threw tons of mistakes, things that will get them beat in games not against Kent State.
They're very good on defense, as you would expect the Jimbo team to be at this point.
And they're good at the line of scrimmage.
They're good up front. But no, their offense leaves you some question marks.
Yeah, 41-10, but they covered.
And look, the 10 part is really good because Kent State's a pretty good offensive team.
Okay.
And so for them to do that, credit. But no, you got to worry a little bit about what you saw from the quarterback spot. It was his first game. You got to be careful with first game overreactions. He will get better, but he better get better.
It was 4 picks, right?
Is that right? Yeah.
I think it was 4.
Yeah, he was shaky.
I think that's right. Yeah, they're fine, but I'm not ready to pencil them in as a contender against either one of those other two teams yet.
No, not even a little bit. No, they're not in the same boat with Alabama and Georgia.
That might be it right now.
You know, I mean, if you made me bet a Florida A&M game today, I don't know which way I'd go even. Florida's just nice and steady.
Florida's fine.
Yeah, they're good.
We'll get to
no, they're good.
It's 0-12, right, for Vanderbilt? 23-3. I mean, I know UConn's still on the schedule. We'll talk about that in a second. But
UConn
is,
and on September the 4th, they're quitting on their coach to the point that he had to announce his retirement yesterday. Yeah. Otherwise, they were going to have a mutiny.
Yeah. Randy Edsall retiring at UConn.
Yeah, Randy Edsall retiring at the end of the year, and if you think he's making it to the end,
I told Neal yesterday, I'm so mad at myself. Not just a little money, but a lot of money on Vanderbilt under 3 wins this season. That I'm irate with myself.
Well, I told you
because
all
it's not
summer
possible.
I told you all summer that people around
but
that
it's 3
program,
freaking wins. You push with East Tennessee State, UConn, and one more.
Think about these words for a minute from people who are objective viewers, and I'm not talking about Chris Lee. I'm talking about people deeper than that.
Yeah, sure.
Independent of one another, saying that Vanderbilt would be, quote, historically bad, end quote. Think about the history. And for them to be historically bad, you've got to take a real step back because they've hit the precipice of the cliff many times.
Vanderbilt in a 20-point loss to East Tennessee State.
Mm-hmm.
And like we didn't even say North Dakota State or Eastern Washington or East Tennessee.
Yeah.
With all respect to Steve Forbes, he's at Wake Forest now. Ken Seals, the quarterback for Vanderbilt, still the quarterback at Vanderbilt. 195 yards, 2 picks, no touchdowns. Their running average yards per rush for the 4 people that rushed the ball on Saturday.
Yes.
3.9, 2.1, 4.3, minus 0.2.
Okay. Surprised it's that good. They scored 3 points on East Tennessee State.
And that's what East Tennessee State getting penalized for taunting. Clark Lee's next job is back as a defensive coordinator somewhere.
I mean, I would assume. This won't ruin his career.
It's Vanderbilt.
You can take the gamble on Vanderbilt and it not ruin your career. Derek Mason's back as a Power 5 upper echelon SEC defensive coordinator.
Yeah, sure. So Vanderbilt's schedule, and forget the 8 SEC games because they have no shot. South Carolina's going to truck them.
Yeah.
And that's the closest one they have.
Sure.
Or Tennessee, take your pick.
No, they'll lose to Tennessee. Tennessee's
I know that.
Tennessee's better than them.
Colorado State.
I know nothing.
I know nothing about Colorado State, but I'm assuming it's a loss.
I will take Colorado State in Neal's picks this week.
It's at Colorado State. It's in Fort Collins. Is that right?
I think that's right.
Okay. Now Stanford did look like warmed over garbage, but I just got a hunch they can still beat Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
K-State did dominate them on Saturday.
Yeah.
David Shaw needs to go do something else.
I'm betting on Stanford.
And then UConn. And now they might beat UConn because, UConn is dreadful.
And that game's up there, not that it matters.
Is it?
Fairly sure.
No, it's at Vanderbilt.
Is that Vanderbilt?
Yeah.
Okay.
To this point, UConn's 2 games is they have a 38-28 loss to Holy Cross. Holy Cross.
Yeah.
I apologize to Vanderbilt. They don't have the worst loss of the year. And 45-0 to Fresno State. Those are UConn's 2 games. Prior to Vanderbilt, UConn plays Purdue, Army, and Wyoming, if you're interested. Let's see.
Someone wants me to address Rich Rodriguez at ULM. It's what ULM gets for doing what ULM did. What ULM did was lazy. It was lazy. It was an attempt to go back in time and trick your fan base, what little fan base there is, into we're serious by hiring some retreads with no energy left. You get what you pay for. They deserve it. I joked a lot about me applying for the job.
But no, seriously. You look at what Arkansas State's done for years. Look what all these teams have done. Go find the dude and then see if it works.
Go find the 31-year-old up-and-comer and give him the program. Let him hire a bunch of young coaches and be super energetic and try some things. Fail at that level and no one notices. But anyone who thought Terry Bowden and Rich Rodriguez would come in and do anything different than what they just did, you're living in the past. Hey, Ole Miss did the Rich Rodriguez thing. That's Ross Bjork. Sorry, but it is. I love you, Ross, but that's on you, bud. Matt Luke was hiring Will Hall.
Yeah.
By the way, Southern Miss got smoked.
Yeah, 34-7 there.
South Alabama put it on them. Yeah. Big crowd in their new stadium. If you've ever been down there, they built it in a
it was in Mobile?
Yeah, okay. Built it in a really cool part of Mobile. Good for them. That program has a chance to be a real solid Louisiana Techie sort of program.
They do.
A real chance.
Yeah, I think that's fair. We mentioned Florida. They beat FAU 35-24 on 35-14 on Saturday.
Yeah, they covered.
Who?
Florida. No, they didn't cover. That's right.
21.
I picked them to cover. That was the one that I went in and changed. I read y'all's picks and I was like,
It was the one that confused me the most. I told you that was my stay away if I had to stay away from one all week. It was weird to me. They're fine. They literally are fine. They only threw for 113 yards.
You didn't have to.
Well, I know, but
yeah, no, they're fine. There's nothing special about Florida. They're not the second best team in the division.
And then there's nothing I can take at all away from Auburn and South Carolina's games against really bad teams.
Here's the one thing I'll take away from Auburn.
Okay.
You're right to not go crazy. They played just a dreadful team.
Yeah, Jeffrey's stats about Akron were very accurate.
Yeah. But I will say this. The eye test showed me that Bo Nix felt a lot more comfortable in that offense. Okay. He was being asked to do things that he's more comfortable doing than running the Malzahn, you will fit my offense, because it's my offense and I'm the smartest guy in the room because I go to Waffle House to celebrate wins.
Mm-hmm.
And the media love me because I've got 2 or 3 media friends that I feed everything to.
Fair.
This he looked far more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Like Nix looked like a completely different sort of quarterback. Now again, it's Akron. I would think even the hardest edged Auburn fan would go, yeah, it's Akron. We got to be careful here. But he did look far more fluid, far more comfortable, just more confident in what they were asking of him to do. It's running a system that fits his style much better. And look, Auburn's got, as they usually do, they've got people who can run the football.
Yeah, Tank's good. Damn good.
But Akron's bad, and so that's you got to be super careful overreacting on Auburn from week 1. Here's the thing. I watched Penn State against Wisconsin. What a hell of a game that was. I know everybody makes fun of it, but I'm like, what's the difference? I mean, people watch Clemson, Georgia, and like, oh, this is art. And then you watch Wisconsin, Penn State, and you're like, oh, Big Ten sleepy. It's the same game. Now, those teams aren't as good as Georgia and Clemson, but it was the same style of game. Here's what I'm saying. Penn State, Auburn has a chance to be a really entertaining game up there where we'll learn a lot about both teams.
Yeah. There's, from a TV standpoint, there's a speed difference that makes it look sluggish for whatever reason, comparatively to Auburn and Georgia. I mean,
sure.
Georgia and Clemson. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I guess I'm going to put on my Big Ten defender hat here and go, Wisconsin, Penn State was pretty good TV.
That was fine. Yeah, I had no issue with the game. Frankly, the bad TV was the blowout, Iowa over Indiana, because Indiana looked like garbage and Iowa looked really good.
Iowa looked really good.
Yeah, I thought so too. Podcast brought to you in part by G&M Pharmacy and Tyson Drugs. G&M there on South Lamar in Oxford. Tyson Drugs on the Square in Holly Springs, 662-236-2222. They deliver locally in the Oxford area. Take advantage of that, as well as MedSync. Will fill your prescriptions the same day each month. Make sure you get what you need when you need it. It makes for one carry out from the pharmacy, one delivery, and you have everything for the month there with G&M Pharmacy. So again, stop in, find out what all they can do for you. 662-236-2222.
We're also brought to you by Lammons Fine Jewelry in Oxford, 1126 North Lamar Boulevard. To be specific, they've been serving the Oxford area for almost 75 years. Engagement rings, wedding rings, fine jewelry, watches, pearls, fashion jewelry, children's jewelry, collectibles, and more. Lammons is the gold standard in fine jewelry. So visit them at lammonsfinejewelry.com or call them at 662-234-2777. Also brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans. It's the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they're uniquely made for you and only you. Raw denim jeans, custom fit, hand-tailored in Tupelo, Mississippi. One size fits one at bluedeltajeans.com. Go to their virtual tailor, get measured, and design your newest jeans in just a few minutes, and you'll be looking great. You can also get a 10% discount just by using the code REBELGROVE at bluedeltajeans.com or in the Oxford studio. It's a great time of year to get a pair of Blue Delta's cotton Genos in the works, so don't miss out. Also brought to you by Pinpoint Commercial Real Estate. They're based out of Jackson, Mississippi. They service the entire state in all commercial asset classes such as retail, office, industrial, and land. Sam Cox, B.B. Mitchell are Ole Miss grads. They utilize their unique skill sets to execute on assignments and increase value for their clients. Get in touch with them to learn more about all their great properties, such as the Village at Madison at 601-586-3220. We're also brought to you by ACS, owned and operated by my friend Clay McNutt in Baldwin, Mississippi. It's a complete electrical control system solution provider and a Rockwell Automation recognized system integrator. They've got a full-time dedicated emergency service and troubleshooting staff and a UL 508A panel shop. They can service and install Rockwell Automation, Allen Bradley, Siemens, ABB Square D, and many other manufacturers. To learn more, go to acsllcms.com or call 662-601-4381. Also brought to you by Game Changer Patch Company. I'll have 10 thoughts up tomorrow. They're basically done, but I'm waiting for the Ole Miss game, obviously. Game Changer will be they want to help you prepare for the Grove coming up on Saturday. They're the only two-patch system, available in the market to stop hangovers before you start. Warm-up patch is used before or while you drink. The overtime patch is used after you've been drinking to recover while you sleep. The all-natural ingredients will keep you in the game, ready for the next play. They're running a giveaway through September the 8th, which is Wednesday. All Game Changer patch orders placed online through the website will be entered to win an officially licensed Ole Miss branded Yeti Roadie 24 hard-sided cooler and a home run bundle of 4 packs of warm-up and 4 packs of overtime. Also, free chances to enter the giveaway, including leaving a product review or following them on Instagram. Go to GameChangerPatch.com, enter the promo code RebelGrove20 at checkout for 20% off your purchase. And we're brought to you by 7 South Tailgating. You don't have to commit to the full season to sign up for 7 South services. Go to 7SouthTailgating.com or call 662-321-1682. If you're just coming up for one game, coming up for a few games, coming up for the whole season, whatever the case may be, get in touch with Kyle and the people at 7 South, and they'll make sure you are taken care of. And we're brought to you by Dead Soxy. The new collegiate line is out. They have some really cool stuff in that collegiate line. The one with Archie Manning.
It's good.
On the
Yeah.
Really cool.
The clipboards.
Yeah, clipboard's good. Rebel Grove is the promo code Rebel Grove at checkout at deadsoxy.com for 25% off your entire order. Also brought to you by Muddy Water Camo. Enter the promo code Rebel Grove. Get a 35% discount on any products from the site and free shipping on $100 or more. Several new products on the site. They sent me some of their camo stuff. It is cool. So if you guys are hunters, you need to check out MuddyWaterOutdoors.com. The brand new Muddy Water Lady Camo apparel out as well. Again, Rebel Grove is the promo code for 35% off and free shipping. And we will be on tonight after the game. That will be brought to you by Walk-On's Sports Bistro. They put everything they've got into bringing you game day at Walk-On's with the taste of Louisiana. Dig into their mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine like po' boys, gumbo, and voodoo shrimp, plus fan favorites like juicy burgers and fresh salads. Quality, fresh ingredients you can't help but crave. Coming soon, Walk-On's Sports Bistro, more than a restaurant, 1735B University Avenue in Oxford.
So one game we didn't talk about, Missouri 34, Central Michigan 24. Really kind of what we thought of Missouri last year. The offense is pretty good. The Bees Like Kids okay, and their defense is not very good. So that's sort of what happened on Saturday.
Yeah, of all the SEC teams, they were the one that I really didn't watch. Everybody else was either interesting or train wrecky or something, and I wanted to watch it. Missouri was just sort of there, and I didn't see them.
They had a kid run for 197 yards, but at Central Michigan, I don't know what to take from that. I don't know if that means anything or it does not, but they had a 17-14 lead at half, scored a touchdown in the third quarter, won the game. So whatever, we'll find out. They play Kentucky this week. Missouri, Kentucky.
I think so.
This weekend. Yeah. So
yeah, the slate of games this week is not as bad as you think.
Now, I've got it up because I'm not going through all the lines, but I did find a few funny.
Couple of good ones.
The line has come down a little bit tonight, just like half a point, nothing crazy. You can get it at 9, 9.5, or 10, depending on your favorite sport book tonight for the Rebels and the Cardinals. Kansas, who rushed the field after beating South Dakota over the weekend, they play Coastal Carolina, are 28-point underdogs to the Chanticleers.
Look,
on Saturday.
Give credit to the Kansas fans. You're not going to have many chances to rush the field, so just do it. Why not?
It's South Dakota.
You're going 2-10. You're going to
beating somebody else.
But then you even prove my point even more. Maybe you're going 1-11. So if you're going to,
so what the hell?
So if you're going to celebrate a win, go ahead.
Like Ole Miss in 07 against Northwestern State. What the hell? Go ahead and do it.
If you've slipped to that point, then you've slipped to that point. Own who you are.
The Citadel. Here we go.
There you go.
Okay.
I'm not going to criticize Kansas fans for celebrating a win because this might be the only one they get for 2 years.
Pitt opened as a 1-point favorite against Tennessee this weekend. They're now a 4-point favorite. It is.
I'll just tell you now, I like Pitt in that game.
Do you?
Yeah.
South Carolina, a 2-point underdog now to East Carolina. They opened as a 2-point favorite. We had a 4-point swing in that one quickly. And
I need to make sure I add that one. I didn't have that one on my list. I missed it.
And the Gamecocks and the Pirates. That is in Greenville this weekend.
What time's that game?
That game is at 11 a.m.
Okay.
I'm assuming that does not have the ESPN post-game day kick. I'm assuming that's SEC Network. Although, too, reminder on this, in this new ESPN deal, ESPN can do streaming only for one non-con game a year. So you won't always be able to find every single game in the non-con on television. Just be aware of that as SEC moves forward. I would assume that's Austin Peay for Ole Miss this weekend, but I don't know the answer to that.
It is. It's Austin Peay.
Okay. I mean, that would make the most sense. Oregon and Ohio State's this weekend. Ohio State favored by 14 against the Ducks in Columbus this weekend.
Yeah, I don't know enough about Oregon to go there yet.
I'm skipping some of the big lines. I'm just looking for decent games. We'll hit everything later in the week when it matters more. Do you take UAB getting tons of points against Georgia this week against Athens?
How many is tons?
30-ish.
Probably.
I mean, now Georgia's going to try to get Daniel some confidence. They're going to let him throw the ball around a little bit, but
they are. But they've positioned themselves now where you don't want to get him hurt.
Mm-hmm. A&M giving 17 to Colorado in Boulder this weekend.
Yeah, I know nothing about the Buffs other than they have a new Buffalo.
Cecil Hurt made a good point on Saturday. He was reading a story about the Mercer Bears who play Alabama this week in Tuscaloosa, and there was a picture associated with the story, as there usually is.
Mm-hmm.
The Bears looked a little undersized and a little outmanned for what's coming on Saturday, to the point that, frankly, they looked like a high school team. I went, that's not good.
Yeah, why? Well, I know that.
You ask.
I know.
The Mercer coach had a little Jason Simpson in him. He said they were really looking forward to the opportunity and they were going to game plan and work their tails off to be successful.
Send a note across the field. Dear Coach Saban, sir, we have no business being here. These young men have families that love them.
They've really enjoyed the pregame and the fans and the whole deal.
They're
going to talk about this the rest of their lives.
Please don't hurt my players. In return, tell me what looks you would like for us to give, and we'll do the best we can.
We play Campbell next week, and that's more important.
You're not helping us get ready for Campbell, and we're not helping you get ready for whoever is next.
Yeah.
Please don't hurt our players. Thank you, sir. Also, would you mind giving me an autograph?
Kane Womack, a really good chance to go 2-0. They are 16-point favorites against Bowling Green.
I like them
on Saturday.
I like that. Good for Kane.
Iowa State this weekend.
Oh,
Big
yeah.
10, Big 12 matchup.
It's in
That's
Ames.
a
Game day's there.
3:30. It's a 3:30 start.
Mm-hmm.
That thing will get done about the time Ole Miss kicks on Saturday. Iowa State, a 3.5-point favorite over the Hawkeyes.
So Carson's got soccer games in Tupelo at 10 and 2 on Saturday. They open their league play this week.
Okay.
What are the odds that I'm the only person at that soccer stadium watching Iowa State on his phone at that moment?
You are the only. But you're in. Iowa State has a chance. Iowa State started a little sluggish on Saturday. Iowa looked incredible against Indiana. They were great. Again, I think 31-7, 34 something. It was a blowout against Indiana and Tom Allen and those guys. Iowa looked a little more complete than – I mean, they're always good and they're always kind of that 8-win team, but they looked even a little better than that. I thought that for a week one they were a notch higher than we even expect of Iowa potentially. So we'll see kind of what that looks like.
Got a little more speed on defense than they've had in the past.
Yeah.
So a little faster. And then offensively they are what they are. They're kind of pro-style, balanced, always have decent quarterback play.
Yeah.
Got some good receivers, good running backs. They go recruiting Florida some.
As I said, really crappy week, but I did have Texas ULL kind of pegged. Texas dominated that game physically, beat up on Billy Napier and the Cajuns on Saturday.
Big time.
They are a 6.5-point favorite in Fayetteville this week against the Razorbacks.
I like Texas in this one. Going to be standing room only, huge crowd, all that stuff. Arkansas will probably feed off that a little bit. KJ Jefferson has to play a much better game. Now, and I do think he came out trying to do a little much. He missed some easy throws early, but he's going to have to play better than that.
Made me laugh, Leif. Said Kirk's finally installed his system at Iowa. That's
It took 30 years.
Yeah, very true. NC State, Mississippi State. So this line opened at State -1.5. It's already jumped to NC State -3.
Wish we should have called me.
Needed that at 1.5, didn't we? When that thing posted.
I love NC State here.
You really do.
I love NC State.
You're just not high on them at all, are you?
Well, NC State's pretty disciplined. They are who they are. They're going to line up and run the ball at you, and they're going to be pretty disciplined on defense. Not going to be great, not going to be super athletic, but they're going to be pretty disciplined. They're better than Louisiana Tech.
Previously mentioned Kentucky at home against Missouri this weekend. Kentucky -5 is the line in this one.
I like that.
Yeah, I like the Wildcats -5.
Goodness.
You want to lock?
Yeah.
Just in case that gets a little crazy?
Yes.
Okay. Because it opened at 4.5, so it could still jump on us.
Yeah, let's lock in at 5. I like the Cats there. Goodness.
Okay.
That's in Lexington, right?
That is in Lexington.
Oh, yeah, give it to me.
Yeah. Michigan and Washington this weekend. Washington coming off their loss to an FCS team over the weekend. Michigan, they played Western Michigan, but looked fine. 47-7-ish, something like that. They're favored by 6 against Washington. This is in Ann Arbor this weekend.
Okay.
So, sure.
Good for them.
Colorado State must really suck because I'm looking at they play Vanderbilt in Fort Collins, favored by 5.5 against Vanderbilt.
I'll lay them.
Well, yeah, I'm going to lay them. I refuse to pick Vanderbilt to cover a line, but I'm just saying it's not some huge line here. That's really kind of it. I mean, for late night games, you just want to spend some time on something. Your best one, I think, would be Utah at BYU.
I was going to say, because we're going to be doing a postgame, and I noticed that there are going to be games on.
Yeah, we got Utah-BYU at 9:15.
That's not bad.
That's a 7-point line there in that one. At 9:30, we've got Stanford-USC.
And that's got a chance to be ugly.
It does. 18 points on the line there between the Cardinal and the Trojans. And then just if you want a game while we're hanging out, at 10 o'clock, Hawaii and Oregon State kick. So get a little
we'll be drinking.
Yeah, it's that. So Pac-12, Oregon State, -10.5. Oregon State lost to whom? I saw that. They played – who did they lose to?
I don't know.
I saw the Fighting John Hartwells came back and won in Pullman over the weekend. Utah State had a furious rally late and knocked off the Cougars there in
I woke up Sunday with quite the hangover. I did not use the game patch system, and I should have. But I didn't intend to do what ended up happening.
What happened?
Just enjoyed
kind of kept going?
Enjoyed the day and lost count.
You didn't really mean to, but
not really. I thoroughly enjoyed the LSU thing as it was unfolding.
Did you turn Matt on that night? Did you see it?
Okay. No.
Okay.
I woke up and had to come downstairs. Fell asleep upstairs watching some of the late stuff. Yeah. It was fun.
The guy with him who kept screaming about UCLA shooting confetti completely made my night.
Yeah.
Like, he was very upset by the amount of times UCLA was shooting confetti.
He'd had more than I'd had.
Oh, he
had a lot.
A lot. Purdue is who beat Oregon State. I knew it was some. I knew it was some Big Ten Power 5 team or something. I couldn't remember.
Well, and Purdue's going to be your very middle.
They're
actually bottom of the pack.
Really?
Big Ten this year. Yeah.
The Big Ten seems a little more.
What did Illinois do? Did they come back and beat UTSA or did they lose?
They lost to UCSA.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah. Talk about
welcome to the Brett Bielema experience, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, and if you're Nebraska. Because I don't think they got all happy about beating Fordham or whoever they played over the weekend.
No, most assuredly not.
That didn't do enough. I did see the kid from Fordham tied the NCAA record for most tackles in a game. He had 30 on Saturday. One dude.
Moneybag Ty says that people are reporting that there will be no changes to any coach's sideline responsibility for tonight's game.
Yeah, there was nothing.
I don't know why this is a story.
I mean, I don't know what would even be a change.
I guess you're talking about who would make the decision on fourth down.
Yeah,
Jeff Lebby,
because it was his offense.
Yeah, I mean, and these decisions have already been discussed. Hey, if we're up this, we do this. If we're down this, we do this. These guys have all coached football for a long time. It's not like they're lost without Lane Kiffin. Like, what do we do?
Kiffin will be on a Zoom, by the way, after the game.
Yes.
So
I did know that.
Yeah, there's that at least.
I guess I should have made a headline and made a story out of it.
Should have, but nonetheless, he will be available.
Sources, Kiffin to be available on Zoom.
Yeah. So. Okay. Yeah. So that's it. Look, we're not going to be with you in the morning because we will have been done with coverage like 6.5 hours when that time would normally be. So, we'll figure out. We've talked about potentially an afternoon show tomorrow to get you something, kind of get up to date. Although we don't know what any press conference situations look like unless you do, Neal. I've not been told for the week. Do you know?
I do not know.
Okay, so let's figure that out. Let's get a game played tonight, and we'll go from there.
I would assume that Lane
will be available tomorrow.
Would do something on Zoom tomorrow.
Yeah, that's my guess.
Because he's technically still I don't know whether Lane is available. Like, how does this work?
Oh, I didn't think about that.
From first day of symptoms, which was
definitely not time yet. Then no, it's 10 days from first symptoms.
So I don't think he'll be available for the Austin Peay game.
I think he just gets under the wire.
Okay.
Judging just by what kind of he has said in those couple interviews, but either way, yeah, we'll figure that out. No show in the morning, and then we'll go from there on whatever this looks like. We'll let you know. But tonight, Ole Miss Louisville, 7:00, and then hand raised guys or
right
post game show when it's over.
We will hit the button quickly. I mean, if it's a blowout one way or the other,
might even hit it before.
We probably will get started before.
Yeah, so we'll be with you tonight here in the same bat time, same bat location, and hope you have a wonderful day. Enjoy the game, and talk to you here in a few hours.